Hey there, I'm Cher, and this is Diary of a Pen Nerd. So, I wanted to jump on the train. I saw Lau from Kenshin Crafts do his fountain pen preferences video, and then I saw Tiny Tiger Co. do one, and then I saw Little Coco Studio do one, and I don't know, I thought it was fun, so I want to do one now. And I really did like all of these questions and getting to hear everyone else's responses, especially like how they came to their response. Like Little Coco Studio had the Pilot Custom 823, and like that was the pen that she was comparing everything to and basing her answers off of, and it was really fun to just like hear everyone think through, their answers. So yeah, I can feel that this would potentially be a very chatty video, so let's get right into it and start off with number 1, flat or cigar. And I definitely prefer cigar shape, and so I have my Jinhao Dadao 9016 and 9019. Really like the shape of both of these. I also have my Moonman M2, and I really like the shape of this one. And I think maybe one of the only pens that I have that is flat is this one, and I don't mind the shape of it. I just it's just like not my favorite, So flat or cigar, I pick cigar. Gold or silver, I'm definitely a gold person, so really like the gold on a lot of these. I do have some pens with silver trim, like this one, and a couple of my Kavekos are also in gold or silver, but when I get to pick gold. And actually that was one of the questions I had when I was thinking about getting this pen, because the nib is silver, but the finial here, or it's not a finial, but the ring here is gold. And I wondered, would that clash? Would I hate it? I don't notice it, but it was something I thought about. Posted or unposted? I never post my pens, like ever. Even my Kavekos, I will write with them unposted, and they fit fine in my hand. I like fractured my hand here, and so that's why I'm got a little thingy on. And that's also why there was no video last week, because I fractured my hand. Oopsies. But we're getting better now. But yeah, I almost never post my pens. I typically will just hold the cap in my other hand, and that's perfectly comfortable for me. And that way I don't feel like I'm ever losing the cap. But the only pen that I think I really post is this one, and that's because it like legit is too small if you don't post it. And it's like made to be posted. Oh my gosh, now I'm not gonna be able to get it on. There it goes. But yeah, I will almost never post my pens. I also just like it doesn't feel natural to me to post. Now my pen is too long. See? This is a good size pen. This is too long. So those are my thoughts there. Cartridge converter or internal filling. When I first got into fountain pens, I thought internal filling was like the way to go, and I didn't want anything that wasn't internal filling. or eyedropper. I was obsessed with the idea of eyedroppers, which is why one of my first pens ever was this one, because like there's no option for another filling mechanism. Like it's just an eyedropper pen. Now I find that I don't mind cartridge converter as much, especially like I just don't want it to feel flimsy. Like these ones, the cartridge literally twists in, so it feels very secure. I sometimes don't like when the cartridges just push in because it doesn't feel as secure to me. But I would say that still the majority of my collection I will eyedropper, like my Kavecos, I eyedropper, my Varsities, my Parallel, all of those are eyedropper. So I don't know, it could go either way. It's not like a deal breaker for me. I will say though that if it is cartridge converter, I want a converter to come with it, which is one of the reasons why I haven't bought a Lamy Safari, because you have to buy the converter separately. And also one of the reasons why sometimes the Kaweco Sport also you have to buy separately a converter. So if I didn't want to eyedropper it, I'd have to buy converters. Bottles or samples? I started out collecting mainly just bottles and no samples, and then I realized that I had like a metric ton of ink that I would never get through ever, but not the variety that I wanted. And so now I lean more towards samples, but I also just like don't buy ink very often anyways, so it's kind of up in the air. Like the last time I bought ink, I bought 2 bottles and 2 samples. But I also realized that I had bottles of inks that I wasn't like a huge fan of or didn't want to be using on repeat. So that was one reason why I would lean towards samples now too. But back in the beginning, bottles were the way to go. And I think part of that also was that I have never been able to buy anything for the hobby like consistently. So if I bought just a couple of samples and used them up, I don't know when I would be able to buy more ink. But having a bottle, even though I was just using the same color all the time, was, you know, a better safety net for me, I guess. The next question is subtle or flashy? I would say most of the pens in my collection right now are pretty subtle, you know, kind of maybe perhaps understated. I do have some flashy pens, like I would consider this one to be flashier, especially because of, you know, its design. And the other thing is, I really like a lot of flashy pens. I just haven't been able to add them to my collection. Like the Esterbrook Sweet Dreams, that one's pretty colorful. A lot of the Benu Euphorias, I really like. I just don't have them in my collection, but I really like them. But my collection right now is definitely on the subtle side. So yeah, that's that. Ink window or no ink window? I definitely prefer ink windows. Even if it's just like your pen is translucent and so I can see into my converter, or like this one is translucent so I can see the ink level. This one's been eyedroppered. Or my Pilot Varsity's got an ink window. But I do like ink windows because sometimes, especially with this pen, which has the fude nib, so it goes through a lot of ink. This is an ink machine. I'll be writing with it and I'll run out of ink and I will not have even realized that I was getting down there, which can sometimes be frustrating if I'm writing away from home and can't fill it up right away, which has happened a couple of times at school. So I definitely prefer ink windows to not ink windows. Twist or snap cap. I think the only pen I have that's a snap cap is this one. And I think I prefer twist, only because it just feels more secure. Sometimes the snap can feel flimsy. And I don't know if it's this snap specifically because of the way this pen is made, or if all snaps would feel like that. I know some pens have really satisfying snaps to some people, but for me, I like twist. Or I guess my Pilot Varsities are also snap, and I don't take huge issue with that. I don't know. It could go either way. Number 9 is gold or steel nibs. We're gonna make this really easy. I've never had a gold nib. Would really like to try one, but as of yet have not. So steel nibs, I guess. Number 10, basic or custom grinds. Gonna make this one really easy again. Basic, because I've never had a custom grind, although they intrigue me. But I would have to do a lot more research if I ever wanted to actually get one, and I'd probably have to write with them first before I knew what I wanted. But Julia here on YouTube does a couple of videos explaining a lot of custom grinds that are really super helpful if you're looking for more information on those. But basic nib sizes for me, and for the most part, medium bold is what I've found. I used to think when I was first starting out that I wanted fine or extra fine. I don't. Medium or bold or bigger. But it's so fun to think back as to when I was a little fountain pen newbie and what I thought, what I liked at the time, or what I thought I liked and what I like now, and being able to think about all of that is really fun. So number 11, planner or journaler? Both. This is my journal, and I have a lot of fun in here. And then this is my planner, which is a bullet journal. But I do both, and I live in both daily, and so a lot of people have been making videos about their journal ecosystem, and I've been watching a lot of those and find them so interesting, and I'm thinking about potentially making one myself, but I think if I boiled my journal ecosystem down, I would need at least 2 books, and that would be my bullet journal and my regular journal. So that's number 11. Number 12 is the old Tomoe River paper or the Sanzen paper. Gonna make this one really easy again too. I've only ever tried the old Tomoe River. That's actually what this is on right now, because I got a pack of loose leaf paper as a gift one year and have been using that ever since, and I quite like it. I mean, it's a little thin for my taste. I usually like my paper to be thicker, but I feel like it shows off my ink really well. So whenever I want my ink to look good, that's when I get out my nice paper. Soft or stiff gold nibs. Gonna make this one really easy. Never used a gold nib, but would love to try them. I'm really not sure how my preference would go there. But yeah. And then for number 14, shade, sheen, or shimmer in ink. And I actually, on the back, swatched some of my favorite inks so that we can look at them. The top two are chromo shaders, and I really love those. It's Sailor Yurameku Amamuyoi, which is really interesting. I'm not even sure how I would describe this color, but it shades pink and green, and I love it. And then Colorverse Night of Myrtle, which is purple, but also shades pink and blue. So those are my two favorite chromo shaders. I would love to try more chromo shaders. And then for sheen, I have Organic Studios Santiago Sea Blue, which is like this really dark teal that sheens like super red. I know that's not like the most original color sheen combination, but I really love it. I only have it in a sample, and I'm going to have to get a bottle because I love that a lot. And then for shimmer, I have Ferris Wheel Press Blushing Mushroom, which is a really light bluish grayish purple with rose gold shimmer. And so all of these are like top tier inks for me, and the different ink properties are one of the biggest reasons that I got into fountain pens. So I definitely like all three and love all three. Number 15 is brand names or makers. Gonna make this one really simple again, and I only have brand names, but I see a lot of makers. I would really like to go to a pen show to get maker pens because I feel like that's the best way to experience it. And being able to pick out like the specific one that you want and talk to the maker about the pen and the materials and the design process. Like, that's the way to do it. Then there's number 16, which is standard or limited edition. I mostly only have standard pens. I have a couple limited editions, and they're all Kavekos. So I have this one, which is dark olive, and then I have these two, which are Hello Kitty. And I don't know, I really like them both. It depends a lot on how, like, just how the pen actually is. I will find that a lot of times I have to skip out on limited editions, and that's okay. So, but there's been quite a few limited editions that I really liked, especially the Benu Ambrosia Lilac. Loved that pen. I saw the Bookish Artist do a video about hers. Loved that pen, and it's all sold out now because they only made 20, but I would not have been able to buy it anyways. But yeah, and I try not to lust after pens too much. I try to focus on enjoying what I have. New or used pens, I've only ever had new pens. I wouldn't be opposed to used pens as long as like I could see how they work before buying. Number 18 is demonstrator or not demonstrator. I feel like this one kind of goes with ink window. I prefer to be able to see the inner workings of my pen whenever possible. Which is again why I liked this pen so much for my first pen. Not that there is very much inner working here, but or the translucency again. And that's also why I like the look of TWSBI Ecos, which I don't have, but I like the look of them. Pen and ink matching, a little bit, but not really. It has to feel like it goes together, but it doesn't need to be like a specific color match, you know? So right now I have Arizona Sky Crimson, which is a crimson ink, in this pen. And it just feels like it goes together. So I typically have Amamayoi in this pen. But right now I have actually this ink, which is Ferris Wheel Press Brilliant Beanstalk. Wow, that was a tongue twister. In this pen. It just has to feel like it goes. And then vintage or modern. We're gonna make this one really easy. I only have modern, but I would really like to try vintage flex, because I hear that if you want flex, vintage flex is what you want. Although I'd have to do a lot more research before I felt comfortable buying anything. But those are all of my fountain pen preferences. I hope this was fun, and let me know your preferences down in the comments. And that's all I have for you today. So thanks for tuning in. And if you liked this, you want to stick around, you can go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll have the next chapter of my story out soon. Bye for now. Love, share.